going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. Today's video is all about the 2023 Corvette C8 Z06. So grab your popcorn, grab a drink, grab a seat, get super comfortable, and let's dig deep into this topic. We got a lot to cover. I even came prepared with notes, so you know I'm taking this very serious. I feel like I'm a news reporter here. I mean, look at me. I got the whole setup and everything, so let's get serious and talk about this car. So this car was announced about a year and a half ago. Even people back then put in deposits on these cars. Some of them are finally taking deliveries of their C8 Z06, and then there's also a bunch of people waiting to get theirs. So people have been excited for this car for a very long time, and I actually love the car. I've seen it in person, and I did a lot of research on this car to be able to talk about everything I'm about to talk about, and everything I've seen has been really impressive. There is also a bunch of concerns that I have that I will talk about later on in the video, but let's start off on a positive note with this car having a 5.5 liter V8 flat plane crank, making 670 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque. Yes, I know the torque is a bit on the lower end, but if you guys know a thing or two about flat plane crank engines, they tend to make low torque. But besides that, 670 horsepower on a naturally aspirated car, that is impressive. Also has an 8-speed dual clutch and can do a 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds. That is crazy. And it can also do a quarter mile in a 10.5 at 130 miles per hour. It was actually done by another YouTuber named Amelia. So she actually went faster than what Chevy said this car would do. I think Chevy said it would do like a 10.7 or a 10.6, and she actually did a 10.5. So it's impressive that just a regular old person was able to run a faster time than what Chevy said. So you don't really need to be the most professional driver to run this time, and it's just impressive to me that this car was really built to go around turns, yet it could still run a mid-10s in the quarter mile. I feel like this car does everything well, and I know a lot of you guys out there are going to compare this to the Hellcat, the Demon, the GT500, and yes, those cars do run these times, but those cars are all supercharged. This car is naturally aspirated. So you gotta give Chevy a pat on the back, because to make this car do these numbers while still being naturally aspirated is super impressive. And you know, imagine this car having boost. Like when the ZR1 comes out, it'll probably be twin turbo. It'll probably run like mid-9s, and it actually will run the 9s, not like the Demon where they promised that car to run a 9.65, and well, about 99% of them did not even run anywhere near that. That car basically was a low 10-second car. So yeah, I'm super excited for the ZR1 when it comes out, because I feel like that's gonna be like a 9-second car. And again, that car is not made for a straight line, yet could still perform in a straight line just like any other car. So that is impressive, and I'm gonna use the word impressive a lot, so keep count of that and let me know in the comments below how many times I use the word impressive. I just use it again. So this car has a beautiful design. It sounds amazing. Literally sounds like a Ferrari. Like, I have never heard of another American car that sounds like an Italian supercar. This is the first, so they absolutely killed it with the exhaust. Overall, I love this car, but I do have some concerns, and that's why we're gonna talk about that now. So this car is super expensive. Probably the most expensive Corvette ever. They do say this is the best Corvette ever produced, and I guess we'll see, you know, because, you know, this is a brand new car. It's a first-year production. We don't know what problems it's gonna have, but they did say it's the best produced Corvette, and well, it is the most expensive produced Corvette, that's for sure. So this car is a bit too expensive, and that's kind of a concern for me, because this car is not limited, it's not numbered, and we don't know if this is a 1, 2, 3 year car. We don't know. Where the C7 ZR1 was a 1-year car, so they only made that in 2019. Hence why that car is still worth $250,000. You probably can't even find one for under $200,000, and at some point you were able to buy one for like $115,000. Where this one, if you want to get a coupe starting out at $106,000. Convertible is $114,000. If you want to get the 3LZ, which is the highest trim model, that's an extra $14,000. The Z07 package is $9,000. That is very much needed because this car is nothing without the Z07 package. It doesn't handle the same, doesn't have the same aero, doesn't perform the same without the Z07 package. So you pretty much need the Z07 package. If you want to save a little more money, you would probably go get the 1LZ. That's the cheaper spec. And well, I'm going to tell you guys all the options you can't get with the 1LZ. So you can't get heated or cooled seats, you can't get memory seats, rear camera mirror, side blind zone alert, wireless charging, front lift, heated wheel, and a lot of interior customization you can't do with a 1LZ. So they pretty much force you to get the higher trim models just so you could get these options. Like imagine if I just want to get a cheaper spec and I want like the rear mirror camera or the heated and cooled seats. You can't even get that unless you get like a 2LZ or a 3LZ. So Chevy has always done this where they force you to get a higher trim model, spend more money just to be able to get certain options. Where like, let's say you want to go order a Hellcat. You just walk in and you're like, I want this option, this option, this option, and this option. Where with Corvettes, you have to get a certain trim to be able to get a certain option. I don't like that. That's a pretty annoying thing to do because that means you have to spend more money to get, you know, a certain option like a heated wheel. You can't get a heated wheel unless you get anything higher than a 1LZ. That's just annoying. I actually built one myself on the website and it came up to $146,000. I didn't even put a single carbon fiber option. I didn't put the wheels, those are $12,000. I didn't put any exterior carbon fiber. I kept it pretty simple. I did get the 3LZ, blue on blue, super badass spec, and it was $146,000 before taxes. You'll probably pay $160 after taxes, so that's kind of expensive, man. I don't know. And that's just before dealer markup, which is what we're going to talk about next. Some dealerships are selling them for $30, $40, even $50,000 over sticker. And I seen a dealer recently have a bidding war. So they had an open allocation and they pretty much said, all right, this car is gonna go for this amount. I think, actually, no, one second. I don't think it was a certain spec. I think they would give you the allocation and then you could build your car. So let's say you built it to where I built it for $150. Then they would want all the customers that want that allocation to bid on it. So this guy goes, oh, I'll pay $10,000 over sticker. This guy wants it really bad and he goes $15,000. This guy really wants it. He says $20,000. The other guy says $30, $40. They'll literally go as high as someone is willing to pay. And there's a lot of rich guys out there that don't care about money and they'll literally pay whatever they want just so they could get the car first. So a car that's $150,000 could be $250,000 by the time you finish bidding on it. That's kind of stupid that dealerships are having bidding wars on cars. Like, whatever. I guess they could do whatever they want to, but it just takes the fun out of ordering a car knowing you have to now pay way over sticker to get the car, which means if you ever go to resell it, depending on how the market is, you might lose your ass out because nobody wants to pay way over MSRP just because you got f***ed over by the dealerships and paid well over MSRP. So that's annoying. There is some dealerships out there that are selling them for MSRP, like Hishi, one of my boys. So if you want one, I'll put his info in the description. Hit him up and put your name on the list and maybe you'll get yours in 3 years. Another thing I have a concern about is that Chevy is promising a faster and a better version of the C8 with the ZR1 or the Zora. So as long as that is in the talks, that means the Z06 will lose its value eventually as the ZR1 is getting introduced or it's getting ready to come out. The C8 Z06 will lose its value. And this literally happened with the Stingray. So the Stingrays were like a $59,000 MSRP car without a single option, and people were building them to be like $80,000, and there was dealer markup, and then the used car market got super crazy on them. Some of them were going for 110, 120, 130,000, right? And that was about 6 months to a year ago. Now if you want to get one, I found a couple online. One had 3,000 miles for $76,000. Another one had 1,500 miles for $77,000. And another one had 600 miles for $81,000 and 4,000 miles for $83,000. This one is at LT3, so it's the highest trim model, fully loaded out for $83,000. And 4,000 miles is pretty low miles. All that when that car was over $100,000 just 8 months ago, maybe even a year ago. So the car lost about 40% of its value just because the Z06 is coming out. So as you could see, when you are promising a better version to come out, the previous version is gonna depreciate. And that's what's gonna happen with the C8 Z06. So I don't think people should be paying over sticker on them. I even think $160,000 is a bit ridiculous for this car. It is impressive. It is the American supercar. I understand all that, but $160,000 is insane, knowing that that isn't gonna stay where it's at. Like, it's gonna depreciate. It's probably gonna sell for $110,000 in a year or two, or in 3 years whenever the ZR1 comes out. So I made a list of a few cars that I think is a better fit and what I would personally get instead of the C8 Z06. So number one, Lamborghini Huracan. It's the most reliable supercar out there, and no one could ever argue that. Two, a Porsche, which is the best driving car, and nobody could ever argue that. And three, C7 ZR1, which is the best made Corvette ever. I think they killed it with the C7 ZR1. It looks beautiful. Everything about it is cool. And the fact that it's a 1-year car, which means that car will never be reproduced, and they only made a certain amount of it. I think they made like 3,000 of them. I'm not exactly sure on the number, but it was super limited. It wasn't a numbers car, but it was limited, and it was only made for 1 year, which means that car will pretty much stay for 200,000 plus for the rest of its lifetime, unless maybe the C8 ZR1 affects that, but I don't think so, because the C6 ZR1 is pretty much going for $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 still, and we're talking about 7 years later, 8 years later. So the ZR1 seems to be the most collectible, and that seems to be the car that holds its value, which is why I pretty much passed on the Z06. If I want to get a Corvette, I'll probably just wait for the C8 ZR1. But seeing how much the Z06 is going for, I don't know if I even want to get a ZR1, because if this one's going for 160, 170,000, I could only imagine what the ZR1 would go for. I mean, like, I don't understand. Would it like start at 200,000? It's just crazy to see an American car sell for that much. Like, I don't think it's ever been done before. I've never seen an American car start out at $200,000. I mean, the last time I've seen this was the Ford GT, but the Ford GT is just like a whole different animal. Like, the ordering process, like, you have to be accepted to even submit an order. Like, there's a lot of exclusivity around that car that the C8 ZR1 or the Z06 won't have. So that's the only time I would justify buying a car for that expensive that's American, because if you want to look at the Ford GT market right now, they're all going for $2-3 million when they were $500,000 at some point. So that's just a whole different ball game. I don't think the C8 Z06 or the ZR1 could ever be compared to the Ford GT. Also, another thing and I want to mention is part shortage. Okay, so right now, if you want to order a C8 Z06, you would go into the dealership, put your little deposit for like, I think $500, and they'll put you on the list. So when your name comes up, you will pretty much go in and submit your final spec. If you want to do that right now, like let's say your name came up and you can submit your final spec right now. They don't have any of the carbon fiber parts available, so no wheels, no wing, none of that. And they also don't have the Z07 package stuff available. So if you want to order a Z07 package one right now, they don't have it. So like the bigger wing and all the cool aero stuff, they don't have it right now. How could they have possibly ran out, and this car has only been out for a month? They could have literally been prepared for years for this, and now they've ran out. So let's say it ran out and you can't submit an order with the Z07 package or any of the carbon stuff. Basically what happens is your name gets dropped down in the list and the next person goes in front of you, and if that person wants to get a cheaper spec without a Z07 package, then they do, and then you gotta eventually wait until the Z07 package is available. If it's ever available, then you could submit your order. And then once you submit your order, I think it would take 8 to 12 weeks. And that's just like if everything goes right, they don't run out of any parts, and literally like everything has to go right for you to get it in about 3 to 4 months. Other than that, like I think it's super crazy and unprofessional on Chevy's side to already be running out of parts this early in the race. Like they just came out with this car and they're already running out. And I feel like they're doing that not because they're actually running out, but they want to keep this car super trendy. They want to keep the hype around it, which means they want to control the used car market. So if the used car market is strong, people are willing to go and buy this car even more. So if this C8 is selling for $200,000 on the used car market, people would want to go spend $150, $140 on a new one just because it'll make them think that they could eventually resell it or drive it for free and then sell it and still make money. So there's a benefit of having the used car market high on these cars because Chevy gets more orders, they make more money, and that's just how they do it. And they'll probably do that for the next few years, where the people that are ordering their cars now won't get it for 2 more years. Or if you want a certain part, they don't have it available, which means your order will pretty much stop until they have that certain part. And that's just so annoying. I mean, the pandemic has happened 2 years ago, and these car companies are billion-dollar companies and they're still unprepared. So that's my concern with this car. Overall, I think it's a beautiful car. The interior is beautiful, the exterior is beautiful, everything about it. I also love the customization part of it, how you could customize the seatbelt color, the seats. There's so many different variations of the interior, also the brakes, the colors, I mean everything. It's a cool process. I did it online. I advise all of you guys to go and do it and just imagine and manifest getting a car like that. But yeah, that's all I got to say. I love it. I had my concerns, and let me know what you guys think of those concerns in the comments below. Also, name me 3 cars you would rather get over the C8 Z06. Tell me yours in the comments below. Also, let me know what you guys think of everything I said. All your concerns, leave it in the comments below. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.